Welcome to Fire Engineering's Training Minutes. I'm David Rhodes. We're here at the Guardian Center's Flood Village. We're going to be doing some recon and flood rescue today. I'm joined by Dean Patrick, an instructor here at the Guardian Center in Spec Rescue. Dean, tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today.
We're going to do some water rescue here, and one of the things we're going to look at is that we've got two types of boats. Most fire departments will have a ready access to hard bottom boats such as John boats. We have one behind us that's a 14-foot. It's pretty typical of what you'll find in that arena. Now the other thing we have is an inflatable, but the reason we have the two is because they're used for different uses. The John boat we have behind us, a 14-foot, has a capacity of 350 pounds or 3 people. That doesn't allow for much for a number of people in the boat plus rescuing. It's a good recon boat, and that's what we want to use it for. We want to use it for recon because it's a little more durable, and it can handle the underwater obstacles that we would run into normally when we're doing this. Obstacles such as fire hydrants, fence posts, street sign, clothesline poles, lawn furniture, playground furniture, things of those that are prominent in an urban setting. And by using that for recon, we'll save our inflatable boat, and we'll explain why we're using the inflatable as we go along.
All right, so let's get our guys ready to launch and get out for some recon. All right, Dean, so we're getting ready to launch the recon boat. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, one thing we want to do is we want to keep our firefighters safe. We want to keep our rescue people safe. Flood water, still water, whatever it is, it's very contaminated water. So we want to be cognizant of that, David. And the one thing we want to do is try to keep our people out of it. We've got two examples here. We've got one firefighter in his normal gear that would be doing water rescue as long as he can remain high, dry, and tight. Okay? The second guy we have here is in a dry suit. He's protected against the contaminant. He's okay for him to enter the water because we can decon him and the dry suit will protect him. So one of the things we want them to do is we want these guys right here to launch this boat. We'd like them to pick it up and take it back to where the front of the boat is edge of the water. The guy that has no gear on, he needs to be cognizant of stay out of the water.
All right, guys.
Okay, now he needs to get in the boat, move to the back of the boat where the water will displace his weight. That'll still allow our boat to move back. Now our guy that has the suit on can enter the water, and he can get the boat to where he can get in the boat. Boat can be handling the water, and he can maneuver there. Therefore, we have not contaminated our person that's not prepared to be entering a contaminated environment.
All right, now our guys are going out to check for victims, possible victim locations. They're just going to do a quick recon around the subdivision here. And some of the equipment they got in there, I noticed they had a pike pole and a flathead axe. They also had an extra life jacket.
Yeah, if we do find a victim that they've got to work on right away, we want to make sure that we keep that victim safe. So we want to be able to put a PFD on them. We don't want to question whether they can swim or not. We want to put a PFD on them.
All right, and they also had a throw bag of ropes so they could get to somebody.
So they could get to somebody if they're already in the water and we need to get them over to the boat's edge. Pike pole, we could go tap the sides of the building or the roof of the building, and by doing that, that'll allow us to see if we can find someone inside. We're tapping, and if they're in there, they'll start tapping back, let us know that there's someone in there. That's a good way to communicate out here other than just hollering.
All right, so our guys have launched the boat. They're checking the closest vehicles and stuff to see if anybody's inside, and they're just going to make their way around the subdivision.
Yeah, they'll check, and they're also, the guy in the very front is also the second set of eyes for the operator. He's looking for obstacles to make sure that they don't run into something that's going to affect the stability of the boat or tear up the boat. So he's very important. He's not only looking for victims, but he's looking for the real safe way to maneuver around in this environment so that they can know exactly what they're up against. Yeah. We see a street sign out up there,
right.
But you know, this could very well be that we didn't see that street sign. It was 3 or 4 inches beneath the surface,
just enough
and
to
that's
hit
not
the
the time to find it when you hear it crunch in the metal out of the boat. So his most important thing is he's watching for obstacles and trying to find out exactly how the best way to get around.
Vehicle underneath us, Robbie. We're right on the edge. Just to our right. Clear.
He's going to stop there.
Rescue, anybody here? Anybody here, rescue?
All right, so he's seeing if he can make any verbal contact
Trying
with
to-
anybody.
Yeah, David, he's trying to make verbal contact right there and make sure if anybody's at it. In Katrina, one of the things that we found as the waters rose, that people kept going up, first floor to the second floor and then into the attic, and there was a tremendous amount of people that actually spent days trapped in their attic as the waters rose, because that was the last refuge for them. And that happens in these kinds of situations. He sees that he's passing over an obstacle now, David, and he brings his motor up to protect his shaft and his prop and drifts over it, and then he can put it back down and go back into operation. That's where your main set of eyes on the front of that boat is
critical.
very, very important. Now he's got to compensate now for the fact that there's wind. This looks like still water, but actually there's a current out there, as you can see, because the wind's creating a little bit of drift for him.
Stay tight to the right.
You have to admit, this is probably one of the most unique training props that we have access to, isn't it?
Yes. It's not every day you can flood a town.
No, so it's not every day you can flood a town. And practicing on a pond and even in a river, it's not the same.
Fence straight ahead, possibly a fence here. I see the corner post, so let's go right. Fence on the left.
All right, they reported that we had at least one person in the attic of this house over here, so now we're going to need to swap over to our rescue boat. All right, so we can see there's furniture floating. There's just no telling. I noticed a lot of the footage we see large propane tanks floating around in the water. It's just, we don't know what's in this water.
That's the thing about floodwater rescue. We have no idea what's in that water or exactly what that water has encompassed itself and become a part of. So it's an environment that we have to be very careful in, because it may look placid and peaceful, but it is extremely dangerous. That's why a good recon is so important, David. Got to know what we're up against.
Now, if we were to see somebody, of course, they're going to want to be picked up immediately. So part of what we have to do is reassure them, maybe have a couple of bottles of water or something to toss up to them and let them know that we'll be right back. We're going to go get our other boat or send additional crews.
Right. That's what we need. We need to make sure that we make contact and assure them that they are safe. We're not abandoning them. We'll be right back, and make sure that they stay safe and so forth. We have an extra life jacket in the boat, so if we saw someone visibly on the roof at this time, we'd most likely throw that to them to enhance their safety by making sure that they had to put that on in case something happened to change the situation.
All right, so we would also be assessing any conditions, any medical needs, if anybody had any medical conditions, so we can sort of prioritize our list as to who we need to go get first.
Right, we want to make sure that the person knows that we're asking about their and concerned about their welfare, and anything they've got, we want to be prepared to handle it when we go back out to get them.
All right, the guys have radioed in and said they've got a couple victims out there, so our recon is complete, and we'll have to switch over now to our rescue boat.
That would be the thing to do. Let's switch over, and we can actually put a bigger crew in to assist in the rescue and getting the victims out, because we can use the better, more stable boat.
All right, so today we covered water rescue from the Recon perspective. We took a look at the equipment we would want to take out on the Recon, the two types of boats that we had, our personal flotation devices and extra equipment, throw bags, extra PFDs, and talked a little bit about how we would assess and talk to the victims if we found them on the roof, medical conditions and stuff. So that's it from the Guardian Center Flood Village today. Thank you for watching Fire Engineering Training Minutes. I'm David Rhodes, here with Dean Patrick.